think over here, this is after 6 months. He says, 6 months of treatment, best decision of my life. And I think I would have to agree. Like, look at this progress, right? He's starting in July, right? Comparing the two, yeah, the midsection improved significantly. There was a huge improvement in the midsection. So this is progress. But certainly, if you look over here, and I would encourage people to actually have a sort of keen eye when they pay attention to their scalp. If you see anything, any sort of discoloration, to the point where there's like a sort of yellowish tint to your skin compared to the skin around it. It could be the case that you're dealing with some sort of fungal outbreak, maybe some sort of psoriasis kind of. Hello everyone, and today we're back with yet another post from Trustless and Reddit for the most part, and we're going to be looking at a user who had a pretty impressive turnaround with their treatment when it comes to their androgenetic alopecia. So we're going to be looking at this particular user over here, named something like that. But we're going to be looking at this first post, and we're going to look at their scalp in detail. So over here, you can see that they have some sort of a yeast outbreak. There is some sort of a diffuse thinning in the mid scalp, so that could be, maybe they had some sort of telogen effluvium. Maybe they've been dealing with androgenetic alopecia for a bit. But certainly, if you look over here, and I would encourage people to actually have a sort of keen eye when they pay attention to their scalp. If you see anything, any sort of discoloration to the point where there's like a sort of yellowish tint to your skin compared to the skin around it. It could be the case that you're dealing with some sort of fungal outbreak, maybe some sort of psoriasis kind of plaque. But in this case, I think he was likely dealing with chronic seborrheic dermatitis. It might be a bit hard to see, but I'll try to see if I can zoom in. There's some like raised aspects of the skin over here. But for the most part, it's clear that he has some sort of severe diffuse thinning in the midsection coupled with a seborrheic dermatitis. Now, we're going to look at his other result. So we go back to his profile and we kind of click forward over here. We can see over here that the midsection, right? This is from July 27th, 2024 up to December 26th, 2024. And this is the December 26th, 2024 photo. So comparing the two, yeah, the midsection improved significantly. There was a huge improvement in the midsection. So this is progress. Now, could it have been a telogen effluvium? I think maybe he had some sort of telogen effluvium, but judging on his post history, it looks like he's been dealing with sort of diffuse loss in the midsection of his scalp for a bit, right? But this over here just stands out to me. Clearly, this is some sort of yeast. So now for the transformation, right? Look at this. So relatively the same lighting, right? You can see over here, hair is very sparse, very diffuse in the middle, right? And over here, he's right under on the right-hand side. I'm assuming this is around 4 months apart. You can see in direct lighting, you can see the density of his mid-scalp, right? You can see the frontal part of his hairline. He just has a lot of dense hair, right? So this is a really good accomplishment. And this just goes to show when you're consistent with treatment, whether you're treating your seborrheic dermatitis, whether you're taking, finasteride or dutasteride, this is the kind of progress you may see, right? It's the kind of progress you may see. So that's something to take into account. I think over here, this is after 6 months. He says, 6 months of treatment, best decision of my life. And I think I would have to agree. Like, look at this progress, right? He's starting in July, right? This is sometime, I think it was July 27th, 2024. If we were to go back and look to January 22nd, 2025. And you can see the progress that's being made here. Although it is different lighting conditions, clearly you can see the density of a scalp is much, much higher on the right-hand side. And the hair just looks more vibrant, looks fuller, looks healthier. And this is because he got on treatment, right? Now let's see what treatment he used. So let's read this post. He says, quote, I have been on 1 milligram of finasteride for 6 months now and 5 milligrams of oral minoxidil for 3 months. These pictures respectively are 5 months apart from August to January. So August 2024 to January 2025. Confidence has certainly been restored at this point. I genuinely feel like a new man. LMAO, ask me anything. And yeah, I would say that the turnaround time probably was amplified with the oral minoxidil, right? Definitely finasteride is going to bring down that scalp DHT. And if he got on dutasteride, I can only assume how long it would have taken him to kind of see the results, right? The positive benefits, because dutasteride does decrease scalp DHT by 50% if you're taking it at 0.5 milligram, up to 80% if you're taking it at 2.5 milligram. And you can clearly see here, he's a good responder to both finasteride and oral minoxidil. But 5 milligrams of oral minoxidil is pretty potent, so that's pretty impressive. Now, obviously, if you're going on oral minoxidil, please get your heart checked with the ECG and echocardiogram. You want to know if you're dealing with any sort of, cardiac predispositions before you start this medication, as it is a cardiovascular drug first and foremost, right? Even at its low doses. Side effects are idiosyncratic, meaning that it's not necessarily the dose that determines if you get side effects, but it's your genetic predispositions, right? Conceivably, maybe having a high amount of sulfuryltransferase enzymatic activity. But enough of that yapping. Again, this is the progress you only see with treatments like finasteride, dutasteride, or either oral minoxidil or topical minoxidil, even topical finasteride, at the very least if you can't handle oral 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, right? Topical finasteride between, I would say, 0.1% up to 0.25% should be enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this quick rundown of a video, just to kind of tell people, yes, there is a solution if you have androgenetic alopecia. You simply have to get started, right? So that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to get in contact with me with any sort of, consultation, discussing the literature, maybe trying to come up with some sort of, stack that you can take to your doctor and maybe have a more informed conversation with your doctor, I'm always here. You can check out the description. My consultation link is there. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. And, shout out to this guy. Hopefully I can have him on a podcast in the future for the HairStacks Podcast. Look at this. Look at the before and after, right? Left-hand side versus the right-hand side. The density is just day and night. So yeah, that's pretty much it. See you on the next one, guys. Peace out.